I'm Saturday hauling for you guys today, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with an order that I placed off of the One Size website because it was really hard to catch this product on Sephora. It kept selling out. I think it was one of those TikTok kind of blew it up type of situations. But it's the One Size Cheek Clapper 3D Blush Trio in the shade Attention Seeker. And this is actually the first trio of cheek products like this that I've tried from One Size. So there's a cream blush in here that's 0.14 ounces, and then there are two powder blushes, one's a matte and one's sparkly, and those are 0.12 ounces a piece. So you're getting a pretty decent amount of product in here. This is what the box packaging on this guy looks like. And it does say that it is made in the USA on the box. And then here is the actual packaging. It's got a nice weight to it, but it is a kind of lighter weight plastic packaging. Then you've got your shade names on the back, and this here is what I've got on my face today, and I actually just like pinked it up, if you will. I've got it on my forehead, my chin, on my cheeks, I've got it on my nose, and this is such a pretty shade of pink. A lot of the times when I get a shade of pink like this, it'll deepen a little bit when you put it on. On my cheeks, I'd used the cream blush first, and then today I used the shimmer one over the top of it, but I have been using the matte as well. And a lot of the times, again, when I have shades like this, they'll deepen just a little bit on my skin, but I feel like this one must have enough like white base in it where it stays that color. So I really love that about this product. So there's a mirror in there as well, and then a little window to protect your cream. And this went over my set foundation pretty darn good. I did use the BK Beauty 109 brush, which is my favorite brush for cream cheek products. And I just pounced it on my cheeks after I kind of warmed it up on the back of my hand, and it went on really nice. And then I went over it with the shimmery powder today. And the sparkles in that, this one right here, there's like a little bit of some purple sparkles. They're not like super like visible to the like on the cheeks or anything like that. And then there are some like silver ones, but it's really, really pretty. So let's go ahead and swatch these for you guys. So this one's the cream, this one's the matte, and then here's the sparkly one right there. I think you can kind of see that little bit of almost like a slight duochrome that's in that shimmer shade. But really glad that I picked this up. I was just missing it every time when it would come back in stock on Sephora, so I just went to the One Size website to pick it up, and then I hadn't ordered from the site before, so I was able to get a discount because it's like the first time, you know, sign up. Like, I think it was 15% off or whatever, but super glad I got this. Now it makes me intrigued to want to get some of the other trios as well, because this works so nice on the skin with that like cream blush. So that's the One Size Cheek Clapper 3D Blush Trio in Attention Seeker right there. And again, I've got it. All the pink that you see on my skin primarily is from this guy. I do have a pink toned highlight on as well, but I actually used the Menagerie Aurora Australis highlighter. It's this guy right here as a highlight on top, and just the combination is super, super pretty. And then I also got the One Size Ultimate Setting Powder. I wanted free shipping, and I also really like this powder. This is the third one of these that I've got. It's been out of my collection for a while now, and I was like, well, I want free shipping, and I know that I enjoy this product. There's a total of 1.2 ounces of product in here, which is an astronomical amount of powder that you're getting, and it's also made in the USA. It says of US and imported materials. So this is 01 translucent. This is the box. I really like the packaging that this powder comes in. It's got one of those flip tops with just a little kind of slash in the center where you can dump the product in the lid. To put the cover back on, I had some excess powder in the lid, so I dumped it back on top. But like, this is what the sifter component looks like. And then you've got that little slash in the center where you can dump out product. And again, I really like this product. It sets your makeup really well, and it also doesn't make my skin feel really dry. And I think it gives a slight bit of coverage too. So I had used this a couple days in a row, but prior to, I've been just really stuck on that Revolution in Real Life powder duo, both the loose and the matte. This guy right here, and this is such a like thin product on the skin, but it sets really well too, and it's very comfortable on the skin. So when I went to use the One Size after not having it for a while, I did think that my face looked a little bit more makeup like in comparison to the in real life one. So I think the next couple times that I go in with this powder, I'm just going to use less foundation or base product underneath it than I normally would, just because again it does sit a little bit heavier on the skin, and I just really noticed it from using that lighter in real life powder from Revolution. That is such a lovely powder. But this one here is good too for a little bit like more like a fuller coverage look on the skin, I think. So I did pick this one up again. This is again my third one, so that's the One Size Ultimate Setting Powder in translucent right there. And then I bought a couple cheek products from ColourPop at Target, and these could also dupe for kind of what my cheek look like is today as well, even though these aren't the products that I have on. So this shade was sold out on the ColourPop website. It's the Super Shock Blush, and it's a matte version in the shade Lil Vibe, and ColourPop products are made in the USA. There's a total of 0.15 ounces of product in here. So this is that, you know, spongy kind of putty texture blush, but this color is very pretty. I did have to work a little bit harder to pick this up on the brush. It's not quite as creamy in comparison to the One Size one, but it kind of made it easier to blend on the skin as well. So I just went in a couple times with my brush to get that product to pick up in comparison to the One Size, because it's got a little bit more of a drier putty texture. So I think you can kind of see even when I worked my finger into it there pretty good. Like I already kind of hit the pan because, well, the product is kind of smushed towards the edges, but you really have to kind of work to get that to pick up. But the color again is really pretty. I left the One Size up so you can see them together. It's got a little bit more purple in it in comparison to the One Size. So that's the ColourPop Super Shock in Lil Vibe, Lilvibe right there. And then I also picked up the Super Shock highlighter in the shade Hippo, which is a pearlized kind of purple pink color. In this here, I love to use the Super Shocks kind of as a base for other highlighters. I didn't use this one today. I actually used one of the ColourPop stick highlighters, and then I topped it with the Menagerie highlighter again in Aurora Australis. This guy right here. I'm going to swatch this guy too, just so you guys can see it, because I've got it on the inner portion of my lid and underneath my brow with a palette that I'm going to show you as well. So I might as well swatch it so you can see them together. But this highlighter is super beautiful. So this is again Hippo from ColourPop. It looks beautiful by itself as well, but I really like the ease of use with these Super Shock highlighters as bases for other products that I have a little bit more hard time getting to stick to the top of my cheekbones, and it just really makes them super sparkly. This one isn't as shiny as something like Flexitarian or with Seismic. That's one of my all-time favorite Super Shock highlighters, but it does function really well for how I like to use it as that base. And again, I've worn it by itself too. I actually paired those two together, and it was a really pretty cheek too. So that is the Super Shock highlighter in Hippo right there. And I think that when these first launched, I had this highlighter. And at the time, I wasn't having as much difficulty getting highlighters to stick to my drier skin type as I am now. So I ended up, I think, decluttering it back then. That was like quite some time ago. But for kicks here, let's swatch Menagerie's Aurora Australis too, which is on my eyes and on the top of my cheeks and kind of highlight points. Such pretty. All of these colors just give me the feels. They're so pretty. And then Charlotte Tilbury was doing 20% off on her website, so I placed an order there. And I was really surprised when I seen that they were, you know, doing a sale, that this product was in stock. And it's the Pillow Talk Hypnotizing Pop Shot in the shade Ultraviolet, which when these first launched, I wanted to get one of these, but this one was like sold out like right away. And then when I went to get this one and it was in stock, I was really excited, and I was going to pick up the Pillow Talk Diamonds one as well because that looks stunning, and that one was sold out. So I just got this guy. There's 0.04 ounces of product in here, and this particular shade is made in Italy. So this is the box packaging. These have got super cute actual packaging. So this one's actually got pink and kind of deeper pink and some gold. sparkles on the front, where the ones that she came out with during the holidays kind of had some gemstone looks to them. And this was heavily influenced to get for sure. Like when I first saw that it was sold out on the Charlotte Tilbury website, I was just like, ah, whatever, I don't need that. And then I've been watching REM Beauty's videos, and she's mentioned this quite a few times. And so that really pushed me to get this. And it is a really beautiful shadow. It's a duochrome purple pink, like metallic. And it looks beautiful. I've used it a couple times on the lid, and it's a really, really pretty color. However, it's nothing like super, super unique. Like, I've got colors similar to this in my collection. But the formula on this one is really, really nice. I think you can see how pretty the shine is and how smooth it is when you blend it out. I wore this on the lid with another palette that I'm going to show you in a minute, and it was so, so pretty. Like, it glimmers really beautiful in the light. And again, like, no noticeable like particles of anything. It's just a really smooth duochrome metallic shimmer. And it's beautiful. It's a really beautiful shadow. It's different than the other one that I got from the holiday collection that had more like flaky sparkles in it. This one's much more smooth, like a smooth duochrome metallic shadow. So that is the Pillow Talk Hypnotizing Pop Shot in Ultraviolet, right there from Charlotte Tilbury. I decided to take advantage of the sale on the Charlotte Tilbury website and repurchase the airbrush bronzer refill, because I've had this compact kind of just sitting around empty, and I really like this bronzer. So I got a refill of the shade number 2 medium. I've got the light one as well. I'll pull it out and swatch them together so you can see the difference. And I've hit a substantial amount of pan on the light one too, but it is pretty light, so you kind of have to build it up, or I do at least, on my skin tone to get it to show up. So I do prefer shade number 2 medium compared to the fair version. And this is the bronzer that I've got on my skin today as well. It's just so smooth, easy to blend out. It's a warm tone bronzer. Like, if I were to compare it to the Gucci, which, how about I do that as well? But it's just really pretty. It's like a real good, like, summer toned bronzer. And it's the shade medium again. The refills come in this kind of skinnier box, and there's 16 grams of product in there, which is a pretty decent amount. The pans are quite large, but they're not that deep, to be honest. And then this bronzer is also made in Italy. So in case you haven't seen these compacts before, this is what they look like. And again, the pans are just magnetized inside. You can see it moves around in there, which I typically have to put a finger on there and hold it to stop it from spinning when I swirl my brush in there. I grabbed the shade number 1 as well, just so you guys can see them. I really want to pan this guy, and then I'm like, well, then you'll have another empty compact. You can see it's quite light. And then in comparison to one of my all-time favorite bronzers ever, this is the Gucci number 1. It's got such a pretty, like, pinky undertone to it. And I love that, just so you can see them together. And then I just can't stop, won't stop with concealers. So I've got a couple of them to show, new ones to show you guys as well of those. I ordered the new Valentino one. I was going to wait till the Sephora sale, but the particular pink tone fair shade that I wanted kept selling out. And so I added it back to my bucket when it came back in stock, and it showed the little like warning, only a few left in stock. So I just bought it. So it's on the way. Anyway, I picked up a couple concealers, and I also want to get the new Givenchy. My shade in that one sold out as well, so hopefully that one will come back into stock by the time the Sephora sale is. But in the meantime, I've got this Nude Sticks Cream Concealer, and it said this was new, and I've never tried it in this mechanism. I remember long time ago I had the stick concealer from Nude Sticks, and I've long decluttered that. This product is made in Korea. There's 0.1 fluid ounces of product in this one because I got the mini. I think if I'm able to get a mini in a concealer, I think I'm going to try to go that route, just because it takes a while to use up a concealer, you know. So this is what the packaging on both look like. And the first time that I had used this, I pulled it out and put some on one eye and then went back in to grab some more product, and the stopper came all the way out. So I had to, it's out again. Yeah. Oh God. I have to like shove, the stopper's stuck inside of there. So then when you go to put this back in, you're getting concealer all over the place. Which since I have it out, I won't put it back in just because mess. So did I tell you the shade? I got Nude 1. And I don't like this product at all. I put it on and started to blend it out, and it got patchy and it started sticking to itself, and it was hard to work. Like, I was having a very hard time with this product. And so it looked so bad that I had to go in with another concealer to try to get it to look even underneath my eyes, because I was like not gonna wipe it off, because then it kind of messes up my whole situation with my face makeup, you know. It was just not cute. And then I knew it was on underneath a concealer that I like as well, and it looked dry. It was just very unflattering, and I knew it wasn't the concealer that I mixed it with, because I really liked that concealer. It was this product here. So I am not a fan of this in the least. And the packaging, you know, it's I gotta put it back in here at some point. So I'll put it back on, and I put it on really, really tight to try to get the stopper to grip again. Yeah, you just gotta pull it out really, really slow. There, I got it to stick right there. So that's unfortunate as well, but I don't like this concealer at all. We'll just put it that way. If I blend it out on my hand like this, it's like a light to medium coverage, it kind of looks like. Yeah, not a fan of that. And then I also got a new concealer from Flower Beauty. This is the Get Real Serum Concealer. There's 0.33 fluid ounces of product, and I got the shade Porcelain, which has a pretty nice like peachy pink undertone to it. And it blends out really nice. It's got like a medium like buildable coverage. I was quite impressed with this guy. If anything, I thought maybe it felt just a tiny bit drying at the end of the day. So it might be one that suits me a little bit better in the winter time. But it blends out really nicely. And as you can see there, it's got a nice amount of coverage too. And it's got a doe foot applicator, a decent amount of product. And it's pretty nice from the drugstore. So that is the Flower Beauty Porcelain. And then I also got this new concealer from Pacifica. It's the Dreamlit Glow Concealer. And I must have accidentally like threw the box away because I can't find it. I'm pretty sure this did come in a box. But this is shade 11. 6 grams of product. The sticker is so teeny tiny. It says it's made in the USA. And this is actually a glass packaging. It's quite nice. So again, the shade I have here is shade 11, and this concealer is actually like medium buildable to full coverage. For me, I was like, wow, that's got super nice coverage, and it blended out really nice, and it felt really comfortable underneath the eyes. Got a wand applicator there as well. If I could change one thing about it, it would have a little bit more pink in it, because it does on my skin tone. You can kind of see that it has a more yellow undertone on me, but the formula is really, really nice. Yeah, you can see even compared to the Flower that it's just got a lot more yellow in it, but it does look super, super nice. I've worn it quite a few times so far as well, but that's another really nice concealer from the drugstore. Yeah, if I could just change one thing, I'd have one that was a little bit more pink or a little bit more brightening in tone. So that one's the Pacifica Dreamlit Glow concealer in the shade 11 right there. I also got another shade of the Stay Naked Quickie concealer from Urban Decay, and this is the shade 10CP. This is the shade that I originally wanted, and something funny had to go on, I think, with production or something, because this particular shade wasn't available at any retailer that was selling this product. So it came into stock on a couple now, so it is available to buy. And this is the Ultra Fair Cool Pink shade, and this is actually the concealer that I have underneath my eyes today. Previously, I had been using the shade 10NN, which is really, really light. So I was mixing it with pink toned concealers that like deepen a little bit too much for me, and I was really enjoying that combination. Like I love that Chanel concealer, the Sublimage in 02. This is such a beautiful concealer, and I always want to brighten it up just a little bit, so I was actually mixing it with the Urban Decay 10NN, and I just loved the combination of those products. But anyway, 10CP is available now, and so I got that shade, and I really, really like this concealer. It's very like full coverage. You don't need a lot of product. The formula is very, very thin, and it blends out super, super nice. Like, in conjunction with the Flower Nose Circus Powder, you can't see product, like detect product around my eyes like at all. It's just fantastic. Let's swatch 10CP, and then I'll swatch 10NN. So this is the tube. that it comes in. Did I tell you guys how much product is in here? There's quite a lot. I think it's like a half an ounce. Yeah, 0.55 fluid ounces of product. So it's like half of a foundation. And then you've got a little brush that's a super soft synthetic, which is actually quite functional, but I typically don't like do a touch-up type situation with that during the day anyway. But it's there if you like that type of thing. And then this one here is made in the USA. So again, that's the box packaging. It's got one of those kind of chunky doe foot applicators. And we'll put a dot right there. And then I want to swatch it next to 10NN. And 10NN is lighter and it's got, you know, less pink in it because it's a neutral shade. But like when I was looking at them together, it was quite hard. It wasn't until I blended them out that I was able to see a more substantial difference between the two shades. And then when I blended the 10CP on underneath my eyes, I definitely noticed a difference when in comparison to when I used the 10NN, because the 10NN is really, really bright. So yeah, I think you can see it right there. So that's kind of, especially for the wintertime, that's kind of my perfect little shade in this concealer is 10CP. And then again, here's 10NN. But I really like this concealer from Urban Decay. And so that is the Naked Stay Naked Quickie 24-hour wear multi-use concealer is what they're calling it. And that's 10CP and that one is 10NN right there. And those are all the concealers that I have today with more on the way. Also at Target, I saw that they had these new Wet n Wild makeup sponges, and this is a 2-pack. I think it's also sold individually as well. But I had loved and purchased so many of their little double pack of their like carrot sponges. It was like a midi size sponge, and they were my favorite sponges, and then Wet n Wild discontinued them. I have one to show in comparison to these newer ones as well. So I was really happy that they came out with kind of these again. I'm trying to put this packaging together. So there are 2 sponges in here, and these guys here, it says new on the packaging. These are made in China. This is the box packaging. So here's one of the carrot sponges that came in a dual pack, but they've discontinued in comparison to the non-wetted version of the ones that I just got. So you can see the size difference. So they are quite a bit bigger, but the point on these newer ones is very like precise, which is what I like about these kind of sponges, because it allows me to really get in the inner corners of my eye right there with concealer, and it blends it out really, really well. So I love these sponges. One of the other things that I noticed was they wash really, really clean. And so I use the same sponge. This is one that I used today to put on foundation and concealer. So you can see how much larger it kind of gets after you get it wet. It doesn't absorb as much product as the little orange ones used to, and they wash really, really clean, like easily wash really, really clean. So, and I think that's in part because it doesn't absorb as much product, you know. These ones here would absorb, and then after a while they'd get kind of sticky, and then they don't tear as easily as the orange ones do. I've been using this one here for a week, and I've been using the Shea Moisture Black African soap, which has little bits in it to wash it, and I have no tears in it. So I think that the product itself is a stronger, more durable material, and it also doesn't absorb as much product. It blends out beautifully. Love these. I'm going to purchase a bunch of them when I hit the Wet n Wild website with a sale, because I think they're great. I think they were $6 and some change for the double pack of these sponges. And I did see on the Wet n Wild website there's a trio of sponges with the same shape I'm kind of interested in, but I don't think I'll use the little tiny guy. So I might just kind of stick with these. And there's another colored one that I'm wondering if that's the midi sponge too or not. So anyway, really like these sponges, these new ones from Wet n Wild. Next up, I placed an order on the Pat McGrath website. She launched new shades of lipstick, so I got 2 of them. This is what the box packaging looks like, and they're in the same kind of packaging that was a part of her Bridgerton collection. So let me see here. The packaging says made in USA of US and imported ingredients. So, and then the amount of product isn't on the box, but it's on the bottom of the bullets. There's 0.13 ounces of product. And in her kind of standard lipsticks, these ones right here, there was 0.14 ounces of product. So a little less product in these guys. and they've got the little bow tie lipstick packaging. It's a little bit smaller than her original packaging, and I feel like these ones are more sturdy, like the component inside is more sturdy compared to her older ones. There was something going on with her older packaging. I had had several where this component completely came out and it's just kind of loose in there. So I'm hoping that this is an improvement on her packaging because it is super, super cute. And then they've got the click style packaging, so they're not magnetic. These do feel quite light and plasticky in comparison to, you know, other like more luxe lipsticks. They're just lighter. But let me swatch the shades. I got Nude Venus, which is right here. And this is actually quite a bit darker than I was hoping that it was going to be. Still a really pretty shade though. This formula is a little bit thinner in texture compared to some of her others, but it's very, very comfortable on the lips. Like I really do like the formula. It's thinner, but it's not super slicky. So that's the shade Nude Venus right there. And then the other shade, which I think this one, the Nude Venus shade, was part of the Bridgerton collection, I think. And then this one here is a new shade. This is Nude Fantasia right here. And I love this color. It's a warm toned nude. It's very, very pretty. And then for comparisons, let me swatch a couple other lipsticks that are some of my favorites. This is Kim KW from Charlotte Tilbury, which I've gone through quite a few of those. Kind of similar. The Nude Fantasia is a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer. And then we've got MAC's Creme de Nude. So we can see them all together. Yeah, a little bit more maybe yellow and a little bit lighter for Creme de Nude. And this one's a little bit warmer in comparison to Kim KW. But really pretty lipsticks. Nude Venus and Nude Fantasia right there from Pat McGrath. I also picked up a couple products from Lawless off of Sephora. I got another one of the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Tinted Balm Sticks. The first one that I got was like a baby pink kind of shade, but it's just a clear kind of lip balm, and I really like these products. I'm tempted to get the kind of nude shade that has more tint to it as well. They have just the slightest bit of a tingling sensation that makes your lips feel just a little bit plump, and it's very temporary, but they just feel super nice and hydrating on the lips. So the newest shade that I got here is Baby Doll, and this guy's got 0.1 ounces of product, and it's made in the USA. So that's the box packaging. And here is the actual packaging. And this one here is very lightly tinted. It's not quite as tinted as I thought it was going to be honest. Because I was looking at the product on kind of the models on the Sephora website, and it just looked like it had more color. There is some there, whereas the other one just looks clear, but it is quite light. But I still love the product. It's just a little bit lighter in pigmentation. So that is the Baby Doll shade from the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Tinted Balm Sticks right there. And then I also got one of the new Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Glosses. They launched like a spring collection, spring kind of summer looking collection with these really pretty like pink and lavender shades. So I got Lavender Sorbet. There's 0.11 fluid ounces of this guy, and this is also made in the USA. So this is the box packaging on that one. And I've actually got a bit of this on my lips today over MAC's Saint Germain. It's just like a very poppin', like cool tone, bright pink. Super, super pretty. I really like these as well. I originally bought 3 of the minis in a holiday set, and I used up the 2 lighter shades, and I had the darker one left, even though that one's like halfway gone. But I really enjoy this product. And this shade is really pretty too. I'm tempted to get the other one that came out with this collection, but I should probably just not and use the one that I got. So very, very lightly tinted. The other shade that they came out with looks like it has quite a bit more pigment to it. That's why I was kind of looking at that one. But this one's going to be easier to just throw on as well. So cute little kind of a chubby doe foot applicator right there. And that's the shade again in Lavender Sorbet. And that's the new Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss right there. I also got the Lavender 1 talc-free eyeshadow palette from Lawless. This guy here has got 8 shades that are 1.2 grams per shade. And this guy is also made in the USA right here. So that's the box packaging. And here is the actual packaging. I just really loved the color story, and it looked like it was going to be a one and done for me. It's got a light kind of highlight shade in there that's sparkly, some kind of pretty sparkly shades for the lid, and then this really pretty array of cool tone kind of purples. Well, this one's got a bit of warmth in it. But I just really like the color story again. And the formulation of these shadows is really nice, but very basic. So like if you wanted to wear like lavender purple eyeshadow without being like vivid lavender purple eyeshadow, I think you could give this one a try. And then the shimmer shades, they're not like super shiny. They're not something like some indie shadows that are out there where they're extra foily. They just have kind of a light sparkle to them. So for me, it was a little underwhelming, but for someone who doesn't enjoy such bright vivid eyeshadow, this is a nice one. It's just a little bit, you know, muted for something that I usually wear. Yeah, and I didn't have any problems with the matte shadows either. They're pigmented and they blend out really nicely. And then the bottom row. I guess the word I was looking for was tame. It's a tame lavender palette for me. Yeah, but you can see they're like muted, slightly like watered down, dirty, dusky, almost grungy lavenders, some of those shades. So that one is the Lawless, the One Lavender eyeshadow palette, talc-free is what it says. I also took advantage of one of the 21 Days of Beauty sale items, and I got 3 of the REM Beauty eyeshadow palettes. I've got 3, now I have all of them, except for the one that came out in the, like this little special set or whatever. And there's nothing like super revolutionary about these shadows. They're just kind of basic shades, basic finishes, but they're still really pretty on. And I think the packaging is cute. And for 12 bucks, I think that they're all right. You know, that's even like cheaper than drugstore shadow nowadays. So I got the 3 that I didn't have. There's 0.28 ounces of product in each of these. And these ones here are made in the USA with imported and domestic parts, is what this one says. So this first one is Smitten Kitten. I love the pinks with those golds. And 2 of these I did bring in like lighter shiny shades, just because they're like a little mid-tone or deeper and I wanted something brighter. But I think you can even see in those swatches, you know, just how like pretty and like smooth looking the shadows are. And then these 2. So that one right there is Smitten Kitten, and I would not call this one a standalone for me. And the next one is Baby Doll, which is a warm kind of golden neutral palette. This one could use a lighter shiny. There is a matte brow bone though, so I have brought in a lighter shiny shade when I've used this one as well. And then these last 2. So that one right there is Baby Doll. And then the third one is Principessa. And this one also isn't quite standalone for me. I can get away with that gold just on the lid for the lighter portion, but I don't care for it underneath the brow. But this is like a super pretty summer palette. Yeah, and I think you can even see in the swatches like just how kind of smooth those shadows are. And then these last 2. So that one is Principessa, and then you've got Baby Doll, and then Smitten, what did I say, Smitten Kitten? Yeah, Smitten Kitten from REM Beauty right there. And in case you haven't seen kind of what the packaging looks like. It's got a nice weight to it. Very interesting, kind of unique, you know. I'm sure you've seen this before. And that's everything that I got in that I purchased this week. And then I got in some really lovely PR packages. This first one is from Sydney Grace. They're coming out with new face palettes and also a new eyeshadow palette. So it says 4-pan face palette in fair, medium, and deep. So there's 3 versions of that. And then I believe the eyeshadow palette as well, the Unbreakable Bond palette in light and deep. So 2 versions of the eyeshadow palette. And these are launching on March 27th at 9 o'clock Pacific time. The eyeshadow palette says is $56, and then the face palette is $28. So these are the cards that came inside. Kind of the background on the palette, it says, this beautiful wearable palette was originally released as the Taylor bundle. We are excited to bring it back in palette form with a few changes. We are so honored to collab on this palette with the sweet, beautiful, and talented Taylor sisters. We have had the privilege of knowing these girls for most of their lives, and each one holds a special place in our hearts. That's what Sydney Grace said about the eyeshadow palette. I'm not too familiar with the Taylor sisters, but I thought I would mention that. So there is a sleeve that comes on the palette as well, and they sent me the light version of this palette. There's 18 grams or 0.635 ounces of product, and the shadows are also magnetized inside of the palette, which mimics the sleeve. So here's the actual packaging. It's a cardboard with a magnetic closure, and there's also a mirror inside of there. And this is the palette that I had worn. My hair is just really sticking to that gloss. This is actually the palette that I paired with that Charlotte Tilbury single, and I just loved the look that came out of it. I actually used this deep blue in the crease, and I blended it out with, I think, this red shade, and then a little bit of this these browns over here, and then I popped this on the inner portion and then the Charlotte Tilbury on the rest. And again, the look was super, super pretty. Sydney Grace has got a great, like, solid eyeshadow formula. They've got really beautiful metallics and really beautiful mattes. I've got quite a few of their single shadows as well, and they just have a solid shadow formula that works really well. So let's go ahead and give you guys some swatches. I have enjoyed bringing in a little bit of some lighter shimmers in conjunction with this palette. The shine on, I think 2 of the shades has got a really nice light reflect to it, but the base is a little bit deeper, like this one right here. I can make it work, but I always wish for just a little bit more brightness on that inner portion of my eye. And then these next ones. And then this 3rd row. Yeah, those matte shadows, they feel like butter. Or should I say like a bag of flour? And then this bottom row. Because this is magnetized and I've got quite a few Sydney Grace shadows, I might just pop one shade out and like put a lighter sparkly shade in there. Yeah, it was very interesting. I used those navies with that purple from, you know, Charlotte Tilbury. It was just such a pretty look that came out of that combination. But this is the Sydney Grace Unbreakable Bond in light right here. I keep looking at the reflect on that shiny shade. It's super, super pretty. Here's one more kind of right there. And then here is the Luminous Light Face Palette in light. So there are 3 versions of this that are going to be available. And these are both made in the USA, both palettes. There's a mirror in here as well. So this guy has got a highlighter, a bronzer, and then kind of a blush that's like a satin shimmer, very light on the shimmer, and then a matte blush down here. And these are also magnetized in the palette, so if you've got a couple other face pans of blushes, highlighters, and stuff, you can swap them around as well. The highlighter in this one's pretty subtle for kind of how I like, and I like to layer this particular one over like a ColourPop Super Shock or a stick highlighter or something, but it's so smooth. It still has this shine to it, but there's no like visible particles. It's just a really smooth highlighter, and paired with these other products, I really enjoyed the look that came out of it. But it was, you know, when I wear the flaky, almost semi like glittery sparkles on my cheeks, it's pretty tame in comparison to something like that, like the Glam Light Scooby-Doo duo. It's much more subtle in comparison to that. This is not for everybody. And the bronzer does pull warm on my skin, and it is very, very pigmented. So when I first used it, I went in a little bit too heavy, and I had to work kind of harder to buff it out because it's got such a high pigmentation to it. So I actually took a different, fluffier kind of brush to use that product than my normal kind of bronzer brush that I've been using. But let's go ahead and give you guys some swatches here. And this here doesn't look like a whole lot, but it does show up as a muted pink blush on the skin. Like, I can really see that on my cheeks. And it, like, again, it doesn't look like a whole lot in the pan, but it does show up on a fair skin tone. So, and then here's the highlighter right here. See how smooth it is? It's shiny, but it's, well, it's almost like a satin, between satin and metallic is kind of the finish that I would kind of describe it as. So that guy right there is the Luminous Light Face Palette from Sydney Grace. A huge thank you to Sydney Grace for sending over their latest launches. And then I got in a PR package from Nomad Cosmetics yesterday. And this is actually the palette that I've got on my eyes in conjunction with the Menagerie highlighter that I used as well. And this is their newest Nomad Royal Europe eyeshadow palette right here. And this palette is launching on March 28th, Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's $57, and it says you can buy the multi-chrome singles for $12 each, but they will not be selling the mattes as single shades. They're just in the palette is what it says, and it's not a limited edition palette. I just read that on their Instagram post. So this is launching on Tuesday. Again, here's the box packaging right here. I love Nomad's whole aesthetic with their destinations. Each palette has its own little individualized kind of card, and this one here is the destination is Grand Palaces of Europe. The coordinates are Imperial Courts and Royal Ballrooms, and then for inspiration it says Crown Jewels on the box. And I always love that they come with these little cards, like it's like the little invitation, you know. It says, by command of the royal family, the Earl Marshal is directed to invite you, our special community member, to be present at the reveal of the most recent launch in the Nomad Cosmetics Destination Gallery on this day in the year 2023. I live for it. It's so cute. And then here is the actual packaging. And upon first glance, you might not be able to see it super well, but each color that's in here, you've got a base purple, and then you've got a layer of 4 other colors, and they're all cut. So that each one is a layer that's cut, and it's tiered over the top. Like, I don't know how well. It's really hard to kind of capture it on camera. I think you can kind of see right there. Very, very cool packaging on this guy. And that's what the back looks like. And then it also says 15 shades, 0.05 ounces per shade, which is a good amount of product. Manufactured at Nomad Labs in China. So again, this is the palette that I've got on my eyes today. Beautiful jewel tone color story. And when I first opened this up, I was like, no way. Those are all multi-chrome shadows. Super exciting. They're beautiful. They remind me of the first multi-chromes that I got from Clionadh, the ones with the dark base, because these do have that deeper base to them. So the shift happens best when you like really kind of pack them on. The less you blend them, the more of the shift you get. The more you blend them, the more of that black base kind of comes out. And that's true for the Clionadh jeweled multi-chromes as well. But how fun. Super pretty. You can see everything in here is mid-tone or deeper, so that's where I did bring in the Menagerie highlight today to kind of pair with, I wore this purple and these shades right here, and then I packed on this guy right here on the lid. So, oh, I forgot one here. And the mattes are really pigmented and smooth too. Like super smooth. And those two top rows are the mattes, and then the bottom row are multi-chrome metallics. They're stunning. And there's cute little embossings in every single pan too. The shadows are so like soft and smooth that it doesn't take a whole lot to make the little cute embossing go away. And then these two. Right? Super pretty. Nomad is one of my favorite indie brands. Oh, gosh, multi-chromes are so hard to try to make show up on camera. And then these next three. Let's try the mirror and see. I don't know, can you see some shifting with the mirror situation? This is like such an awkward angle. But yeah, multi-chrome shadows in this guy, you guys. It's super, super pretty. Not a standalone again for me because I need to bring in something kind of lighter to shade and light, like contour my hooded lid with shadow, but super, super beautiful palette from Nomad right there. Again, that is their Royal Europe palette, and that one is launching on Tuesday. Super cool. Super cool. Let's look at it again, shall we? A little bit more of an up close here. And a huge thank you to Nomad Cosmetics for sending me over their latest launch. And that is everything that I have for my haul today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to wear sunscreen, and I will see you guys later. Bye.